The 15-year-old we mentioned, Josie, he's barely hanging on in a medically induced coma. That's how serious this has gotten. We're taking your calls in this 1-877-TEL-HLN. Back with us, Diana Moskovitz, reporter, Miami Herald. Also joining us, psychotherapist Mary Jo Rapini. Diana, let's start with you. What is the latest in the condition of Josie?
Right now, she's still in critical. She's still at Broward General Medical Center in downtown Fort Lauderdale, and basically lots of folks wishing and hoping and praying for her.
Yeah, you know, earlier, I believe it was a couple of days ago, doctors said they felt good about her. Are they still optimistic?
We haven't heard otherwise. It's still been a few days, and this could be a very long road. So far we haven't heard anything to make us think that there's no reason to not still be optimistic.
Yeah, our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family here on Prime News. Mary Jo, let's talk about, we talked about the last hour, and I think it's worth mentioning again, the sheriff trying to make sense of this, talking about really texting rage that was coming from this alleged attacker. And it happens with other kids as well. And maybe the beatings and those other stories we've talked about weren't as bad as this, again, a near-death beating. But let me read the text again, that he told her, that he texted the victim, "I'm coming over there and I'm going to snap your neck," then jumped on his bike, 3-mile ride, before he even put on steel-toed boots in the midst of all that. What is going on with this kid, Mary Jo, as this is unfolding?
This was all premeditated, and I'm convinced this kid is raised with abuse in his family. This is very unlike a normal, healthy boy of this age to even think like this, to use those kinds of words. He's watching stuff, he's hearing it. And also, if I were a parent and I had a kid in that middle school, you can bet I'd get action. I would start forming groups. I would take it to the school. I would demand that someone be brought in that can talk about bullying and texting. There has to be a plan. There
has to be. Well, let's talk about that. Diana, how is the school reacting? Because this is the same school, same area where Michael Brewer was set on fire, and we know his injuries were life-threatening. He is still recovering. How's the community dealing with all this?
The community, I think, is still just absorbing everything. I will point out that what happened with Michael Brewer, it happened after school got out. It happened off campus, so they are a little bit different, especially in terms of, you know, action by teachers, since Michael Brewer was attacked.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe circumstances and school involvement. The theme is the same, though. We're talking about kids, 14, 15 years old, doing things that are deadly and ultra-violent, which is just so frightening, Mary Jo. When we see this, why is there no restraint? What's going on with these kids?
Well, I think for one thing, there's no parent involvement. You don't raise kids like this if you are engaged with their family. 51% of all families are raised by single women. Now, one single parent, it's usually the woman. You usually find that with incidences like this, there's a boyfriend or there's a stepdad whose best interest is not parenting that child. Many times the woman will have a boyfriend. She wants to keep him around. He helps pay with rent. He helps take care of her kids. But these boys need models. And I do think it has partly to do with the school, because these kids are meeting each other in the school. They're hearing about it and they think it's cool. They're violent kids. And the more that they can form a coalition with other kids who are angry, who are bullies, the more you're going to see this kind of thing happen. Whether it's off campus or on campus isn't the question. The question is, what are the parents going to do, and what are the parents going to insist be done at school? I'd say no text phones. We
had a caller last hour that say, hey, she got a kid a phone, no texting, no pictures, just a phone call, and I think it restricted. It's just mom and dad. Hey, Diana, let's talk real quick about the upbringing of this alleged attacker. His father, I believe, was arrested, in and out of jail. There was a stepfather. The brother that committed suicide was the father figure for him, right?
Yes. No, his defense lawyer says that he definitely looked up to his older brother, and obviously when his older brother committed suicide, that was very difficult for him. And a few folks I've talked to have said